The young and the restless spoilers are pointing toward a moment that could completely change one friendship forever, but fans are already divided over whether the show should even go there. One small line in a recent episode has suddenly sparked fear, emotional reactions, and major speculation about what could happen next. Could Sally and Audra's growing friendship be heading toward heartbreak instead of happiness? And if tragedy really is coming, who will pay the price? For many viewers, the May 26th episode felt warm and hopeful at first. Audra Charles happily agreed to become Sally Spectra's maid of honor, and the two women shared one of those emotional friendship moments that daytime soaps love to build around. There was laughter, support, and a feeling that maybe Sally had finally found stability in her life again. But longtime soap fans know something important. On shows like The Young and The Restless, sweet moments often come with hidden warnings. And that is exactly why viewers are suddenly paying attention to one very specific line that Audra delivered during that conversation. After promising Sally her full support and standing by her upcoming marriage decisions, Audra Pinky swore with Sally and said something that instantly caught fans' attention. "Till death do us part." At first glance, it sounded playful, harmless, even emotional. But in the world of soap operas, dialogue like that rarely appears by accident. The moment immediately sparked concern among fans who know how these stories work. Viewers have watched enough weddings, tragedies, betrayals, and emotional twists over the years to understand that certain lines are sometimes used as warnings for future storylines. And now many fans are wondering whether the show quietly planted a dangerous clue right in front of everyone. Could this friendship actually be headed toward disaster? That possibility alone is already creating strong reactions online. Some fans are frustrated because they feel the speculation is getting too extreme. One viewer named Purple Sage commented that the headline sounded like nothing but guesswork and asked what the point was of discussing possibilities instead of confirmed facts. That reaction makes sense because many longtime viewers are tired of fake shock value and dramatic predictions that never happen. Another fan, Jake, had a very emotional response. Jake made it clear that they do not want anything bad happening to Audra and said they want her to finally live happily and move on with her life. That comment reflects how many viewers currently feel about Audra's character arc. For a long time, Audra has been involved in manipulation, power plays, romantic complications, and messy drama, but recently some fans have started seeing a softer and more vulnerable side of her. Her friendship with Sally has helped humanize her in ways viewers were not expecting. Instead of constant scheming, audiences are now seeing emotional loyalty and genuine connection. That is exactly why the possibility of tragedy suddenly feels so much heavier. Because if the show is building Audra into someone viewers finally care about emotionally, then putting her in danger would create a much stronger reaction. And honestly, soaps often do this on purpose. They build emotional stability right before chaos arrives. What makes this storyline especially interesting is that nobody actually knows what kind of danger could be coming. The show has not confirmed any death storyline. There has been no official reveal about a tragedy, but the dialogue choice has opened the door to endless possibilities, especially with Sally and Billy's wedding still ahead later this year. And that wedding could become the center of major emotional conflict. Soap weddings rarely stay peaceful for long. In fact, longtime viewers almost expect disaster whenever a wedding storyline begins building months in advance. There are interruptions, betrayals, medical emergencies, shocking returns, and emotional sacrifices. The happier things appear on the surface, the more nervous audiences become. That is why another fan reaction stood out. Jake also commented something that sounded almost like a warning. Sally may have to choose between having her wedding or saving a life. Now that idea alone creates huge emotional tension. Imagine Sally finally reaching what should be one of the happiest moments of her life, only to face a devastating emergency at the same time. That kind of emotional conflict is exactly the sort of storyline soaps love to explore because it forces characters into impossible choices. And honestly, it would fit Sally's history perfectly. Sally has already experienced heartbreak, loss, and emotional devastation before. Every time happiness starts to feel real for her, something complicated usually follows. So if the show wants to create maximum emotional impact, putting Sally in a situation where love and tragedy collide would absolutely accomplish that. One possible theory involves Sally's pregnancy. The article hints that Sally could potentially go into labor prematurely and face serious medical danger. That scenario would immediately raise the stakes emotionally because it would not just threaten Sally's future with Billy, it would also place her life and her child's safety at risk. And viewers know how terrifying those storylines can become on daytime television. Even when characters survive, the emotional trauma often changes relationships forever. If something like that happened near the wedding, Sally could suddenly be forced to choose between celebrating her future and fighting for survival. Billy would be pulled into complete emotional panic. Audra could become deeply involved in trying to help her friend, and the entire wedding storyline could transform into something much darker. At the same time, the show may be pointing viewers toward danger surrounding Audra instead. That possibility may actually be even more interesting. The article reminds viewers that Audra still has unresolved issues connected to the deceased art dealer storyline. Soap operas almost never introduce dangerous past connections unless there is potential for future fallout. Buried secrets have a way of returning when characters least expect it. And Audra has plenty of secrets. That creates another layer of suspense because viewers know her past could easily come back to haunt her at the worst possible time. Someone connected to that dangerous chapter of her life could return seeking revenge, a hidden truth could suddenly surface, or Audra could become trapped in a situation she cannot control. If that happened while Sally was preparing for her wedding, the emotional consequences could become enormous. Because Sally would almost certainly refuse to abandon Audra during a crisis. That is what makes their friendship important right now. This is no longer just a casual connection between two characters. The show is actively strengthening their emotional bond. They are sharing trust, support, and loyalty. So if tragedy hits one of them, the other will naturally be pulled into the fallout. And that is where the phrase, "till death do us part," starts feeling far more serious. Not necessarily because someone will die, but because the line may symbolize how deeply connected their futures are becoming. One terrible situation could test everything. Another fan named Olive Jocelyn reacted by saying they hope the show does not go in that direction at all. That response represents many viewers who simply want emotional friendship stories without constant trauma attached to them. And honestly, that feeling is understandable. Soap audiences become emotionally attached to characters over many years. When viewers finally see healthy friendships developing, they do not always want those bonds destroyed for shock value. Some fans would rather watch Sally and Audra support each other through life instead of facing another devastating crisis. But daytime dramas survive on emotional stakes. That is the reality. The Young and the Restless especially loves building slow tension before revealing major emotional consequences. Sometimes the smallest dialogue moments become massive clues months later. Other times, the show intentionally plants misleading hints just to keep viewers talking. And right now, viewers are definitely talking. The timing of this storyline is also important because Sally and Billy's relationship has been moving toward a serious future. Weddings in soaps are symbolic. They represent hope, stability, and emotional commitment, but they also create perfect opportunities for disaster because there is so much happiness at risk. The more viewers emotionally invest in the wedding, the more powerful any interruption becomes. Imagine the emotional impact if Sally is walking toward her future with Billy while Audra's life suddenly spirals into danger behind the scenes. Or imagine if Sally herself becomes the person needing emergency help while Audra desperately tries to save her. Either possibility would completely transform the emotional direction of the story. And that transformation is exactly what keeps longtime soap audiences emotionally hooked. There is also another important detail buried inside all this speculation. The article specifically says there could simply be a close call instead of a fatal outcome. That matters because soaps often use near tragedies to strengthen relationships instead of destroying them. Sometimes characters survive terrifying situations that permanently deepen emotional bonds afterward. So even if danger is coming, the real story may not be about death at all. It could be about sacrifice, trust, fear, or realizing how important someone truly is before it becomes too late. That idea connects directly to why audiences are reacting emotionally already. Viewers are not just afraid of losing characters, they are afraid of losing the emotional comfort these friendships provide. Audra and Sally have become surprisingly relatable together. Both women have made mistakes, both have struggled emotionally, both have faced judgment and heartbreak, but together they create a sense of support that many fans genuinely enjoy watching. That is why the possibility of tragedy feels so effective emotionally, even before anything has actually happened. The fear alone creates suspense. And suspense is what keeps audiences returning every day. There is also something fascinating about how the writers may be using expectations against viewers here. Soap fans are trained to expect disaster whenever emotional happiness becomes too visible. So by placing that ominous line into an otherwise sweet friendship moment, the writers instantly created tension without revealing anything concrete. That is smart storytelling. Because now every future scene between Sally and Audra will carry hidden anxiety for viewers, every emotional conversation could feel meaningful, every wedding update could suddenly sound dangerous, every clue will be analyzed. And honestly, that is part of the fun of soap operas. Fans love trying to predict emotional twists before they happen. Still, it is important to remember that nothing has been confirmed yet. The show has not officially announced a death storyline. There is no proof that tragedy is definitely coming. Right now, this remains speculation built around dialogue, timing, and classic soap storytelling patterns. But sometimes that is exactly how daytime drama works best. The anticipation becomes part of the experience. Viewers start emotionally preparing themselves for possible heartbreak long before the story fully unfolds. And when audiences begin debating whether a wedding could become a disaster or whether a friendship might survive a crisis, it means the show is successfully creating emotional investment. That investment matters more than shock value alone. Because audiences stay loyal to stories that make them feel something emotionally. And clearly this storyline already is. Some viewers fear for Sally. Others fear for Audra. Some believe the writers are teasing danger on purpose. Others think fans are overanalyzing one simple line. But regardless of where viewers stand, one thing is becoming very clear: people are paying attention to this friendship in a much bigger way now. That may actually be the most important development of all. For years, soap operas have relied heavily on romantic relationships to carry emotional weight. But lately, audiences have responded strongly to friendship dynamics too, especially between women who genuinely support one another despite complicated histories. Sally and Audra now represent that kind of connection, which means any threat to that bond automatically feels personal for viewers. As the road to Sally and Billy's wedding continues, fans will likely keep watching closely for more hints. Every emotional conversation could contain hidden meaning, every close call could feel suspicious, every warning sign could suddenly matter later. And if the show truly is building towards some kind of dangerous turning point, then the emotional fallout could be massive. Especially if Sally and Audra are forced into a moment where love, loyalty, and survival collide all at once. For now, fans can only speculate and wait. But one thing is certain: that simple promise between two friends has already changed how many viewers see this storyline. Because in daytime television, "till death do us part" is never just a casual phrase. And now fans are left wondering, was this heartfelt friendship scene actually the beginning of something tragic?